In the second year of my engagement to Caleb, he secretly went and registered a marriage with another woman. When I rushed to the civil affairs office, the two of them were locked in a sweet, lingering kiss. When he saw me, Caleb explained calmly, "Cindy has a heart surgery next week. She wants a marriage certificate." I quietly took off my engagement ring and went to spend the May Day holiday with my best friend. His friends tried to persuade him to come and apologize to me. Caleb just smiled coldly. "She's already been engaged to me. Who else would marry her? Just wait. In a couple of days, she'll come back crying and begging me." But later, when he saw me burn the diary that recorded our entire relationship, he suddenly lost his mind. He even publicly proposed to me online. I lay in the arms of his best friend, Alan, my fingertips tingling as I typed a comment. "I don't marry second-hand men." Caleb regretted it so badly he felt like coughing up blood, desperately begging me to look at him one more time. Chapter 1. On the festive marriage registration stage, Caleb and Cindy were kissing sweetly. Their kiss was focused and full of affection. I stood at the doorway, at a loss, clutching the ring in my hand. "Miss, are you here to register your marriage? Where is your fiancé?" A staff member's voice suddenly rang out, interrupting the couple on stage. Caleb saw me and explained in a flat tone, "Cindy has a heart surgery next week and wants to have a marriage certificate with me. She's already taken your fiancé status into consideration and won't hold a wedding. You should be more understanding and not make a scene." Caleb and I were high school alumni. We dated for 4 years in college and got engaged after graduation. But what I never expected was that the man who put an engagement ring on my finger a year ago and promised to love me for life would, today, register a marriage with another woman. "Don't worry. I'm very understanding. Congratulations on your marriage." I smiled lightly, took off the ring from my finger, and placed it on the registration counter. Caleb frowned slightly, his tone impatient. "Beatrice, what kind of jealous stunt are you pulling now?" I turned to leave, but Cindy lifted her wedding dress and ran down from the stage to stop me, tears streaming down her face. "Beatrice, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Please don't blame Caleb, okay? I have heart surgery next week, and I was afraid I might not make it out alive. So I asked him to register with me. I just wanted to experience what it feels like to be married. Don't worry, if I survive the surgery, we'll file for divorce." "Cindy, don't cry." Caleb pulled her into his arms and looked at me with displeasure. "Beatrice, when Cindy cries, her heart can't handle it. Do you really wish her harm that much? We're just getting a certificate. You're still my official fiancé. Once her surgery is done, we'll apply for a divorce. Do you really need to cancel the engagement over something this small?" "Of course I do." I gave a bitter smile. Cindy picked up the engagement ring from the counter, her tears delicate yet pitiful. "Caleb, I'm sorry. It's my fault that Beatrice misunderstood you." She took off her engagement ring. She must be angry at me. I turned and walked toward the exit. Behind me, Caleb let out a contemptuous laugh. "Don't worry. Beatrice had a crush on me back in high school. We were together for 4 years in college. Every time I took girls out to have fun with my friends, didn't she always come back to me after being mad for a few days?" Chapter 2. After returning home, I called my best friend Holly and asked her to spend the May Day holiday with me in Rosa City. "Beatrice, I just finished an art exhibition in the capital. Send me your location when you arrive in Rosa City. I'll come find you." At 8 in the evening, I arrived at Galaxy Tavern in Rosa City. I had just taken a sip of my drink when a man with an outstanding presence walked in through the entrance. Elegantly dressed, black hair, a tear mole beneath his eye. At first glance, he looked like one of those innocent high school boy-styled escorts the bar advertised. But when I looked closer, I nearly choked on my drink. What was Alan doing here? My phone suddenly buzzed twice. Holly had sent a message. "Beatrice, I have to rush abroad for something. My brother happens to be in Rosa City. Let him keep you company for a few days. He's got money and plenty of time. Boss him around however you like. Don't be polite." Alan must have spotted me. He walked straight toward me. Alan and I were classmates in high school. He was an art student and graduated from the Capitol Conservatory of Music. Now, he's the lead singer of the top band in the country, Plana. The last time I saw him was a year ago. Holly and I shared the same birthday, and he came all the way back from the Capitol for it. "Beatrice, long time no see." Alan's voice was low and pleasant, still carrying that same laid-back tone from our school days. Long time no see. I gestured for him to sit. What do you want to drink? My treat. You can't even drink alcohol. A breakup isn't a reason to hurt your body like this. Alan looked at the table full of drinks, his refined brows immediately furrowing. It seemed Holly had told him about what happened between Caleb and me. I gave a bitter smile, looking up at the beautiful tear mole beneath his eye. I hesitated for a few seconds, then, as if possessed, said, Alan, will you stay with me for the night? His gaze darkened slightly. Seeing that he seemed unhappy, I quickly waved my hand and forced a smile. Sorry. I was just, okay. Alan's lips curved faintly, cutting me off. I don't even remember how I ended up in bed. When I opened my eyes, I saw Alan taking off his shirt, looking at his well-defined abs. I couldn't help swallowing. A hint of amusement flickered in his eyes as he leaned close to my ear, his voice low. Holly said you wanted to feel the abs of 10 male models after your breakup? I've got 8. Want to try? Beatrice. I'll only let you. Alan. Do you have a girlfriend? I forced a smile through the haze of alcohol. He answered seriously. I've been single my whole life. As soon as he said that, he kissed me like something precious. The sweet scent of peach blossom wine lingered as my body softened uncontrollably. When my robe slipped off my shoulder, his kisses gradually grew more unrestrained, until I let out a soft cry, tears falling like scattered gardenia petals. He froze for a moment, a trace of panic flashing across his face, then gently held me and comforted me, slowing down. At dawn, I woke up, or rather, I hadn't slept at all. I had actually slept with Alan, and of all people, he was Caleb's best friend. Alan was still asleep, so I quietly got out of bed. When I opened my bag, I found only 200 yuan, so I placed it all on the bedside table. Chapter 3. As soon as I reached the first floor of the hotel, Caleb called, Beatrice. What did you say to Cindy behind my back? She suddenly fainted crying this morning. If I hadn't rushed her to the hospital in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. I just registered a marriage with her. Do you hate her so much that you want her dead? I already made it very clear to you yesterday. The position of Mrs. in my family has always been reserved for you. You know she has a heart condition, that she can't cry or get upset. So why would you still do something so childish? I tightened my grip on the phone slightly and said calmly, I was very busy last night. When would I have had time to deal with her? Caleb, I know you care about her, but can you stop throwing baseless accusations at me? Before Caleb could reply, his friends' voices came through first. Sis-in-law, you know Cindy's condition. She's Caleb's childhood sweetheart. It's only natural for him to take extra care of her. As his fiancé, why can't you get along with her? Why even bother talking to her? Caleb treats her so well, and she still wants to break off the engagement. She really doesn't know what's good for her. Shut up. Caleb cut them off and asked me coldly, Beatrice, where are you? Cindy has surgery next Wednesday. Her emotions are unstable right now. Come to Huaxi Hospital and apologize to her. She'll feel better. After a moment of thought, I asked, did Cindy say I called her last night and scolded her? Yes. I'm sorry, but I was busy all night. I didn't even have a chance to touch my phone. I let out a soft laugh and hung up. Soon after, Caleb sent a message. What did you mean by that just now? Caleb, since you were able to take Cindy to the hospital in time, where were you last night? I shot back. He only replied 5 minutes later. Cindy couldn't sleep last night. I was just keeping her company while she slept. I treat her like a sister. Don't make it sound so dirty. Chapter 4. At 7 in the morning, Alan found me at the breakfast shop across from the hotel. When I saw him, I suddenly didn't dare meet his eyes. So I lowered my head like an ostrich and focused on eating my rice noodles with tofu pudding. He walked over and sat down, his tone carrying a casual ease. Beatrice, in your eyes, am I, Alan, only worth 200 yuan? I gave a faint when I saw the shock on his face. I immediately realized what I'd implied and quickly shook my head. No. Alan looked at me, his eyes swirling with unreadable emotions. Beatrice, I was serious last night. Don't tell me you were just playing with me, Alan. We're both adults. Last night was consensual. The 200 yuan was for the room. I looked straight at him, but my voice came out slightly hoarse. Concern flickered across Alan's face. He stood up and brought me a cup of hot water. Beatrice. After I saw Caleb post the marriage certificate on his social media yesterday, I was worried about you the whole time. I asked Holly to keep an eye on you, and when she said you were coming to Rosa City, I immediately booked a flight from the capital. You and Caleb are over now. Do you want to try being with me? I only smiled lightly at his words. Alan, I was with Caleb for 5 years. He's your best friend. So what? He raised an eyebrow slightly, his dark eyes full of undisguised directness. I'm sorry, Alan. A wave of bitterness surged up, leaving me unable to finish my sentence. Alan's expression softened slightly, and he gave a carefree smile. I get it. Don't take what happened last night to heart. Even if you were just playing with me, I'll accept it. There are plenty of tourist spots in Rosa City. I'll keep you company for the next few days, help you clear your mind. Chapter 5. 2 days later, Alan said he wanted to take me for a ride to the seaside on his motorcycle. When I walked out of the hotel, I saw him leaning against the bike, holding a pink helmet. Sunlight spilled down, and for a moment, time seemed to pause. For some reason, I suddenly remembered back in high school, him riding past me on a bicycle with his friends. After getting on the bike, a hint of a smile flashed in Alan's eyes as he looked at me through the rearview mirror. Beatrice, I ride pretty fast. Hold on to my waist so you don't fall off. As the engine roared to life, I paused for a second before wrapping my arms tightly around his waist from behind. In the mirror, the smile on Alan's handsome face grew even more unrestrained. When we reached the seaside road, all I could hear was the sound of the wind rushing past my ears. It felt like summer had arrived. As the sun slowly set, the beach was dotted with seashells glowing in golden light, and fishing boats swayed gently in the distance. Suddenly, my phone rang. Alan pulled the bike over to the side. He was tall, carrying a carefree, slightly rebellious aura, but whenever he looked at me, his eyes were filled with warmth. You answer the call. I'll take a couple of photos to send to Holly. Okay. When I saw it was Caleb calling, I walked a few steps forward before answering. Beatrice, where are you? My mom is picking a wedding date for us. Send her your birth details. Hearing that, anger surged through me, and I snapped. Caleb, did you take some kind of amnesia pill? What marriage are you talking about? We're over. If anyone should send it, it's Cindy. She's the one who actually registered the marriage with you. So angry. And you still say you're not jealous? It's been days. Are you still not over it? Cindy's surgery went well. I applied for divorce with her yesterday. Once the cooling off period is over, I'll marry you into the Wong family in grand style. Isn't that enough? Of course it's not enough. I repeated that our engagement was already broken off. Caleb's tone suddenly turned cold. Beatrice, stop throwing tantrums. My patience has limits. Caleb, why don't you just apologize to her? She seems genuinely angry this time. If she marries someone else, it'll be too late for regrets. Someone on the other end tried to persuade him. Caleb scoffed dismissively. She was engaged to me. Who else would marry her? In 2 days, she'll come back crying and begging me. True. In Sea City, aside from the Song family, no one dares offend the Wong family. If Beatrice doesn't marry you, she'll never get married in this lifetime. The more I listened, the angrier I became. I hung up the phone, and then turned it off. Chapter 6. On the last day of the holiday, I returned to Sea City. After getting off the plane, I took a taxi to Caleb's Shishan apartment. Caleb Wang is the eldest son of the Wang group. After graduating, he took over the family business and had always lived in the Wang family estate. A few days ago, since we were preparing to move in together, he moved into his own apartment. Cindy lives directly across from him. According to him, their families arranged for them to live in the same neighborhood so they could look after each other. The last time I stayed here, I accidentally left behind a diary. That diary recorded the entire course of our relationship. Today, I had to take it back. As soon as the door opened, I saw Caleb in the kitchen making soup. Cindy, wearing a pink dress, was pressed closely against him, staring into the pot. In my memory, this was the first time Caleb had ever stepped into a kitchen. He had a weak stomach. After we got together, I personally made him breakfast once, and he said it was the best breakfast he had ever eaten. So I made breakfast for him for years. I kept changing up the menu, just to make him happy. Hearing the door open, Caleb glanced at me indifferently before lowering his head again to look at the pot. Cindy walked toward me with a sweet smile. Beatrice, you're back. I was discharged from the hospital today. Caleb specially cooked soup for me. Don't tell me you're jealous again? Caleb is your legally registered husband. What would I be jealous of? I responded coldly and walked past her toward the bedroom. But suddenly, there was the sound of something heavy falling behind me. Beatrice, if you didn't want Caleb to make soup for me, you could have just said so. Why did you push me so hard? I turned at the sound and saw Cindy lying on the ground, her eyes red at the corners. She looked so pitiful and wronged, as if I had really pushed her. Beatrice, what the hell are you doing? Caleb rushed over, putting down the ladle. He helped Cindy up and stared at me with a deep frown. In an instant, his gaze suddenly locked onto the spot beneath my right ear. Beatrice, what's that? Are you blind? Can't you tell it's a hickey? I snapped. Caleb's expression darkened as he cursed. Damn it! Who did that? Beatrice, I've never even touched you, and you already slept with another man? Caleb, don't get so angry you hurt yourself. Beatrice went to Rosa City alone. She must have been taken advantage of by some random men. If you question her like this, how could she even say it out loud? Cindy grabbed Caleb's arm, then looked at me with mock sympathy. Beatrice, a woman who doesn't respect herself is like a rotten cucumber in a vegetable patch. No man would want her. The Wong family has strict values. If you were slept with while traveling, Caleb definitely can't have you anymore. Slap! I stepped forward and slapped Cindy across the face. This time, I watched with my own eyes as she screamed and fell to the ground. I questioned her coldly. Cindy, who gave you the confidence to spread rumors about me right in front of my face? You knew full well Caleb had a fiancé, yet you still insisted on registering a marriage with him. I didn't say anything about that. Did it make you feel especially accomplished? Tears shimmered in Cindy's eyes. The concern in Caleb's gaze was almost overflowing, but when he looked at me, his expression turned dark again. Beatrice, you pushed Cindy just now, and now you've hit her, and you still say you're not jealous or angry? It's true I was wrong for not telling you in advance about registering the marriage, but Cindy's health is fragile. If you're upset, take it out on me. Caleb, I didn't push Cindy. Believe it or not, it's up to you. I came here today to take that diary. From now on, let's not contact each other again. I turned and walked into the bedroom, taking the diary with me. Beatrice, are you serious? Just as I was about to reach the door, Caleb called out to me. I looked at him, tears forming as I smiled. Caleb, I suddenly realized that my crush on you back in high school, it was nothing but a joke. Liking you has only added a dark cloud to my life. In my final year of high school, I accidentally fell into a river. When I woke up, the first person I saw was Caleb. That was probably when the seed of my secret love was planted. Chapter 7. 3 days later, Alan invited me to attend Plana's anniversary concert. I agreed. At 7 in the evening, I took my seat at the venue. As the stage lights all lit up, the screams from the audience surged like boiling water. Beatrice, see that? My brother's popularity is pretty high, right? My dad used to nag him every day to go back and inherit the family business. But he said our dad is still young and can work another 10 years. He wants to pursue what he loves now. Holly took out a support banner from her bag and smiled, gesturing for me to hold one corner. I glanced at it and saw the words written on it. Loving yourself will always be Plana. Plana has 4 members. After finishing the anniversary song, the other 3 left the stage. Alan picked up a guitar and said with a light smile, "Next, I'll perform a new solo song. I wrote this for a friend. I hope she can be happy every day." The song is called A Bright Year Ahead. As the guitar began to play, he sang softly, "Kites risk everything for a single string. I just want to tell you, you will always be my first choice." Alan's voice echoed in my ears, as if gentleness itself had taken form in that moment. Unconsciously, I recalled what he said in Rosa City. "Beatrice, do you want to try being with me?" Suddenly, Alan's eyes met mine. My heartbeat resonated with his voice for a brief moment. Beatrice. Why does my brother keep staring at you? That song, he wrote it for you. Didn't he? Even the title uses your name. Be honest. Is there something going on between you two that you haven't told me? And no, he's looking at you. Huh? Don't tell me my brother stares at his own sister like that. That would be way too weird. Holly shot me a mischievous grin. I felt a little guilty. I had told her about everything else that happened in Rosa City, but what happened that night? I just couldn't bring myself to say it. After the concert, Holly took me backstage. Hello, I'm Beatrice, Alan's sister's best friend, and also his high school classmate. As soon as I finished introducing myself, one of the curly-haired guys looked at Alan as if he had discovered something new and teased. Alan, she's the girl you like, isn't she? That love song you just sang, Beatrice in the Coming Year, you wrote it just for her, right? As soon as he said that, the other two teammates burst into laughter. Alan glanced at them, raising an eyebrow slightly. Then he lowered his gaze to me and said gently, Beatrice, that song was indeed written for you, but it's not the kind of love song they're talking about. Beatrice in the Coming Year means that those dark days are already behind you. I just hope your future will be bright. Hearing that it wasn't a love song, I felt a sense of relief, but for some reason, there was also a strange, indescribable feeling lingering in my heart. Chapter 8. The next day, Alan sent me a message on WeChat. Beatrice, are you free this Saturday afternoon? I've arranged a 2-on-2 friendly basketball game with some friends at C-City No. 1 High School. I hope you can come and cheer for me. C-City No. 1 High School is my alma mater. It would be nice to go back and take a look. I had just replied to Alan when Tony, one of Caleb's lackeys, sent me 2 voice messages. Sis-in-law, are you free this Saturday afternoon? I only listened to the first one. If he was looking for me, it was probably about Caleb, nothing worth talking about. In the blink of an eye, Saturday arrived, and I went to see City No. 1 High School. But the moment I reached the basketball court, I saw Caleb. He was wearing a white jersey, and Alan was standing opposite him. So the friendly match Alan mentioned was against Caleb? When Tony saw me, his grin stretched wide with excitement. Caleb, sis-in-law really came today. Just give her a way out and make up already. You've been drowning your sorrows in alcohol over her these past few days. We've all seen it. Making up sooner is good for you and for all of us. Caleb glanced at me. His sharp face showed no expression. His tone indifferent. Why call her here? I'm not so desperate that I can't find a girlfriend. Why should I keep putting up with her unreasonable tantrums? He paused for a moment. Then his gaze softened slightly. I'll only give in this one last time. If she brings me water, I'll swallow my pride and reconcile with her. Their voices weren't loud, but they were just enough for me to hear clearly. I ignored them and walked straight past toward Alan. Beatrice. When Alan saw me, he ran over with a smile. He was tall, and when he smiled, there was always a hint of that roguish charm, but somehow, it made him even more eye-catching. This is for you. Good luck with the game. I handed him the bottle of Waha water I was holding. He reached out and ruffled my hair. Thanks. This is the first time you've ever brought me water. Today, I'm definitely going to win. Alan, what the hell are you doing? Beatrice is my fiancé. Are you trying to steal someone else's girl? Caleb suddenly rushed over and threw a punch at the corner of Alan's mouth. Alan reacted quickly and punched him back just as hard, wiping the blood from his lip. He smiled recklessly. Steal someone else's girl? Caleb, if I remember correctly, your wife is Cindy, isn't she? Beatrice saw with her own eyes that you registered your marriage. She's just your ex-girlfriend now. I told you before, if you didn't treat her sincerely, I'd take her away. Alan, never lie. Caleb staggered back 2 steps from the hit. His eyes filled with fury. Seeing that he was about to charge at Alan again, I stepped forward and pushed him away. Caleb, have you lost your mind? As if remembering something, Caleb looked at me with bloodshot eyes. Beatrice, don't tell me you were fooling around with Alan those days in Rosa City? Do you even realize he's my brother? Alan's a big star now. If he's with you, it's just for fun. There's no way he's serious. I laughed coldly. So what? Caleb, you should understand, our engagement ended the moment you registered your marriage with Cindy. What I do, and what kind of man I choose to be with, has nothing to do with you. Seeing how resolute I was, Caleb lowered his tone. Beatrice, I'm sorry. At the time, Cindy needed heart surgery. She was afraid she wouldn't make it, so she begged me to register a marriage with her. We grew up together, I couldn't refuse. I've already applied for divorce with her. Once the cooling off period is over, I'll marry you. What do you think? I glanced at him with clear disdain. What do I think? I think we're done. Don't bring up marriage again, it's annoying. Alan, did you invite me here just to let me know you're the other man? That's pretty low. Caleb shot Alan a glare before leaving in frustration. Alan, that's pretty shameless of you. You and Caleb are brothers, yet you're stealing his fiancé. Tony shot Alan a contemptuous look, then turned to me. Sis-in-law. You, Tony, are you stupid? Beatrice is no longer his fiancée. Call her that again, and I'll beat you up. Alan clenched his fist, cutting Tony off. Tony stiffened, then slunk away in embarrassment. Chapter 9. Seeing the cut at the corner of Alan's mouth, I took out a cartoon bandage from my bag and handed it to him. But he didn't take it. Beatrice, I can't see it properly. I might put it in the wrong place and waste your cute bandage. Can you help me? I looked up at him and saw the smile dancing in his eyes. So I tore open the bandage, stood on my tiptoes, and gently placed it on the corner of his lips. Then I deliberately pressed it a little harder. Hearing his sharp intake of breath, I laughed softly. Serves you right. Did you purposely invite Caleb to play basketball? Alan didn't deny it. Then he smiled and asked, Beatrice, when did you start liking Caleb? I froze for a moment, then pointed toward U Lake in front of the library. In our final year of high school, I accidentally fell into U Lake. Caleb was the one who saved me. In the first semester of senior year, my mom called me one day, saying there was something urgent. I rushed out of the library, heading toward the school gate. When I passed by U Lake, I tripped over a stone, and just like that, I fell straight into the water. When I woke up, I saw Caleb. From that moment on, my eyes were always on him. During those 4 years in college, everyone envied me for having a boyfriend who loved me so much, but no one knew how much effort it took for me to win him over. Alan, what are you looking at? Noticing him staring thoughtfully at the lake, I waved my hand in front of him. Nothing. I'll take you back. Alan withdrew his gaze and smiled at me. When he smiled, it was bright and carefree, his eyes full of light. For a moment, that smile pulled my memories back to years ago. City No. 1 high school was the best high school in the city. Back then, as transfer students, Caleb and Alan were both well known on campus. Both were top students, evenly matched. In our second year, Alan and I were assigned to Class 7 of the liberal arts experimental stream. He sat behind me for 2 whole years. In my memory, back then, he was arrogant and cool, obsessed with basketball. After class, he was either on the court or in the music room. Now, he hadn't changed much. There was still that same vibrant, energetic spirit about him. Chapter 10. At 1 in the morning, my phone kept ringing. When I picked it up, I saw it was Caleb. He was calling me from an unknown number, and there were several text messages filled with what looked like gibberish, probably drunk texts. I blocked the number and turned off my phone. But the next morning, just as I woke up, Cindy showed up at my door. She looked exhausted, but her tone was as unfriendly as ever. Beatrice, do you even know that Caleb drank himself into gastric bleeding last night because of you? He refuses to go to the hospital. He locked himself in his room and won't see anyone. He only wants to see you. Come with me to the Wong family house. Cindy, in what capacity are you asking me to go see him? As his wife, right? You're really generous, asking his ex-girlfriend of 5 years to visit your husband? Aren't you afraid we might rekindle things? The moment I said that, Cindy's expression turned a little unpleasant. As a woman, I could tell she liked Caleb. She had been in poor health since childhood and had gone abroad for treatment a few years ago. After returning to the country, she came to find me and asked me to break up with Caleb on my own. She even said that for her, Caleb would be willing to give up anything. Cindy's feelings for Caleb, he knew about them, ever since she came back. Caleb's attention had clearly shifted toward her. He took her traveling every few days, went shopping with her, and brought her to eat whatever she wanted. Anyone who didn't know better would think Cindy was his girlfriend. It wasn't like I had never argued with him about it, but he said it was a task assigned by their elders that he had to take good care of Cindy, because she had a congenital heart condition. Chapter 11. At 3 in the morning the next day, I heard the sound of things being rummaged through in the living room. I was jolted awake from my sleep, almost thinking a zombie apocalypse had arrived. When I opened the bedroom door, I saw Caleb sitting on the sofa, the floor covered with scattered belongings. In his arms, he was holding my diary. I had really been so angry these past few days that I forgot I had left him a spare key. When he saw me, Caleb immediately stood up excitedly and tried to hug me. I stepped to the side, and he stumbled forward, falling to the ground. Beatrice, can we get back together? I read your diary. You never let me see it before. Turns out the entire book is filled with your love for me. I know you were just trying to make me angry by being with Alan. I don't care what happened between you and him, as long as you come back to me. Didn't you say you wanted to open a fashion design studio? I'll go find you a place first thing in the morning. And you said you wanted to raise 2 cats. I'll buy them for you, okay? I was wrong. I shouldn't have agreed to register the marriage with Cindy. I should have told you the truth right away. If it were you, faced with someone with a heart condition, you wouldn't have been able to refuse either, right? We've been together for almost 5 years. I'm used to having you in my life. Ever since you started treating me coldly, it feels like something in my heart has collapsed. It hurts so much. He sat on the floor, dejected, muttering to himself, half like he was confessing to me, half like he was blaming himself. Something in his heart had collapsed. That made me almost laugh. Caleb, what are you doing making a scene in the middle of the night? If you're sick, go to the hospital. I reached out to pull him, trying to drag him outside, but he clung tightly to my leg and wouldn't let go. I couldn't hold back anymore. I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. Caleb, can you stop being so childish? You can't even break up properly. How are you supposed to be the CEO of the Wong Group? You might as well go play in the mud with a 3-year-old. Chapter 12. Caleb looked up, his sharply defined face now marked with a handprint. I asked him directly, Caleb, the person who saved me at Lake back then wasn't you. Why did you lie to me? Did Alan tell you the truth? Caleb's body stiffened. He looked down at the ground, then suddenly laughed. Beatrice, you're right. I wasn't the one who saved you, it was Alan. At the hospital, Alan went to change out of his wet uniform. When you woke up, you asked me if I was the one who saved you. I didn't explain. I let you misunderstand. I admit I had selfish motives. Even before that, I already liked you. When Alan and I transferred from a private school to City No. 1 high school, everyone was afraid of offending us, but you were different. You were the vice president of the student council, always treating us with strict fairness. That time Alan was late. You insisted on recording his demerit despite the teacher's objections. It left a deep impression on me. The next day, Alan went to the capital for training and stayed there for half a year. By the time he came back after his art exams, he realized you had already fallen for me, so he never brought up the truth again. So that was the truth. Actually, Holly had already told me about this yesterday. She said Alan didn't want her to mention it in front of me, mainly because he was afraid it would bring back the trauma of me falling into the water. Caleb, do you have a lighter? Lend it to me. Caleb froze for a moment, then took out his limited edition lighter from his bag. I took it, went to the kitchen, and brought out a basin. Then, I snatched the diary from his hands, tore out a few pages, lit them, and threw them into the basin. Beatrice, what are you doing? Caleb's eyes widened. He tried to get up to stop me, but in his drunken state, he couldn't even stand steady and collapsed again. There were 106 entries in that diary, each one written stroke by stroke, recording my secret love. The rest documented our relationship. Beatrice, if you keep tearing it, there'll be nothing left. Are you really going to burn our love in this basin? Is there truly no chance left for us at all? My hand paused for a second. I glanced at Caleb expressionlessly. Then I threw the remaining half of the diary straight into the blazing fire. As the pages filled with words turned to ash one by one, memories grew wildly in my heart, until they tore a hole through it. I shouldn't have been sad. I was just a little regretful. The Caleb I loved at 17 was gone. After everything was burned, I called Cindy. Come and take this drunk man away. Can't even manage your own husband? How did you even have the nerve to take him away from me back then? Her voice on the other end sounded choked. But in the end, she didn't say anything. Chapter 13. A few days later. It was Alan's 25th birthday. After the birthday party, he took me to the seaside and confessed his feelings to me. I said yes. He said a lot during his confession, but he never mentioned saving me back then. When I brought it up, a gentle smile appeared in his eyes. I was afraid that if you knew, you'd accept my confession because of that. What I want is for you to truly like me from the bottom of your heart. That way, being together will actually make us happy. I smiled and stepped forward, wrapping my arms around him. Alan, saying thank you is real, and falling for you sincerely is real too. You're so silly. If I hadn't broken up with Caleb, wouldn't you have waited all these years for nothing? As long as Beatrice marries me, then my 8 years of secret love won't have been in vain. His pleasant voice fell into my ears. I pulled away slightly from his embrace and looked up at his bright, smiling eyes. I couldn't think of the right words to respond to that, so I stood on tiptoe and kissed him instead. Chapter 14. Early the next morning, the trending charts exploded. Hashtag Caleb and Beatrice's 1706 Days of Love hashtag. The one who exposed it was Caleb. When I saw the trending topic, my vision went dark. It felt like my entire embarrassing past had suddenly been dragged into the light. He posted 2 long updates. The first detailed every moment of our 5-year relationship, most of it taken from my diary. After reading it that night, he had somehow memorized it all. The second was an apology to me and a public proposal. Beatrice, marry me. Beatrice, give me one more chance. This time, I'll treat you like a princess, okay? You said you wanted a starry sky wedding. I've already prepared it. Caleb posted photos of a wedding setup under a sky of stars. I glanced at it. It was exactly the style I had once told him I wanted. In his long post, he also mentioned the fact that while we were together, he went to register a marriage with Cindy. There wasn't a single blessing in the comments. Everyone was telling him to get lost. I thought this was some devoted, domineering CEO proposing. Turns out he's just a cheating scumbag. Both the man and the woman have no shame. What kind of absurd story is this? He had a fiancé and still went to register a marriage with someone else? What's someone else? That's his ex-wife. They just got divorced a few days ago. I was just about to reply when a hand suddenly reached from behind and snatched my phone away. Beatrice, don't read those cherry-picked romantic quotes he posted. As he spoke, Alan pulled me into his arms and lowered his head to kiss my neck. A jealous man is truly terrifying, like a hungry little dog. After fooling around with him in bed for a while, I picked up my phone again, opened Instagram, and reposted Caleb's proposal. Not marrying a previously married man. Those words quickly shot to the top of the trending charts. Later, Tony told me that Caleb broke down that day, crying uncontrollably, his eyes red. He called me countless times, but all the calls showed the number didn't exist. Well, to avoid harassment, I had already canceled my phone number. A few days later, photos of Alan and me kissing by the seaside were posted as a 9-picture grid by a well-known paparazzi. When I saw the trending topic, I didn't even dare check the comments. Alan was a huge star, and I thought I'd definitely be getting dragged. But Holly told me no one was criticizing me. Instead, everyone was saying Alan and I looked perfect together. They even said that a well-known fashion designer and the lead singer of a top band being high school classmates made for an amazing story. That very night, Caleb posted a single dot on Instagram. The comments all said he had completely broken down. A few minutes later, Alan posted as well. Finally got the girl I've loved for 8 years. I'll spend my entire life loving her. Caleb's perspective. I lost a girl. Her name was Beatrice. Her life should have been as bright as her name. But I wasted 5 whole years of her youth. I shouldn't have. I truly loved her once. But after we got together, that love was slowly worn away, until all that remained were arguments. No matter how I look at it, I never learned how to love someone properly. I failed her. The day I saw Alan publicly announce their relationship, I decided to go abroad to clear my head. Not long after, Tony called me on video. He said Beatrice and Alan were preparing to get married. Alan personally designed a cosmic wedding for Beatrice. Everyone who saw it said it was incredibly romantic. I saw it too. It really was beautiful. If I hadn't lost her, the groom would have been me. Beatrice once told me, every string risks everything in the sky for just one kite. She was that string, protecting me. The kite. Back then, I didn't understand what she meant. But now, I do. Only. Alan has become that string, the one holding the kite steady. In his hands, the kite will fly safely and high. All I can do is watch from afar. I wish them happiness, truly. Alan's perspective. Chapter 1. I think I fell in love with a girl. Her name is Beatrice. The first time I met her was at the entrance of C City No. 1 high school. It was the first time in my life that I was late for school. Even the teacher didn't say anything, but she rushed over and deducted 3 points from me. I'm Alan, the young master of the Song family, and she dared to write my name down? Interesting. I remembered her. The next time I saw her, she was carrying a stack of math notebooks to the teacher's office. Someone bumped into her, and the notebooks scattered all over the floor. I casually picked a few up for her. She said, "Thank you, classmate." Classmate? I have a name. My name is Alan. She could write my name in her disciplinary record, but didn't remember it? Interesting. I remembered her again. After that, I had my driver take longer routes every morning so I'd arrive late on purpose. After being late 12 times, I asked her, "Do you remember my name now?" You're Alan, the one who's always late to class." She blushed slightly and opened her notebook. A whole page was filled with my name, Alan. I have to admit, she looked pretty cute when she blushed. And her handwriting was nice too, especially when she wrote my name. Chapter 2. Beatrice's parents divorced, and she lived with her mother. Her mother and grandmother ran a bookstore at the school gate called Beatrice in the coming year. I didn't go around digging for this information. I'm not some kind of creep. I only knew because of her gossip-loving deskmate, Yun. One day, I wanted to buy a math workbook, so I had my driver take me to her mother's shop. When I got there, I found it closed. What's wrong with me? I mean, seriously, who goes out in the middle of the night just to buy a workbook? I think I really was sick. In class, I couldn't stop myself from staring at her. Even my deskmate noticed and asked if I liked Beatrice. Of course, I denied it. Alan, would never do something like a secret crush. If I like someone, I go after her openly. By senior year, I was preparing to leave for training. When Caleb and I went to school that day, we saw her fall into the river. After pulling her out, I panicked and gave her CPR. There went my first kiss. At that moment, I thought to myself, when she wakes up, I'll make her take responsibility for it. At the infirmary, I went to change my wet uniform. When I came back, I saw her looking at Caleb with admiration written all over her face. I was stunned. Did she like Caleb? Before I could even get an answer, I left for the capital the next day for training and art exams. When school resumed in spring, I noticed her gaze was always on Caleb, so I could only bury my feelings deep inside. How ridiculous. Me, Alan, actually ended up with a secret crush. After the college entrance exams, I heard that she was going to confess to Caleb. Yeah, confess to my best friend. I felt like a complete clown. I suddenly didn't want to go to the same university as Beatrice anymore. I was afraid of becoming a jealous third wheel, and if I exploded, I might hurt her. Fortunately, my sister Holly went to the same university as her. At least I could still hear about her from time to time. The next time I saw Beatrice was at Plana's first anniversary concert. I invited Caleb, and he brought her along. But that time, I got into a fight with Caleb, because he said he had to accompany Cindy to a private event the next day. But the next day was Beatrice's birthday. So what if he was my brother? I couldn't stand that kind of behavior. I punched him, but when I saw Beatrice worry about him, I felt like a clown again. The day Caleb registered his marriage with Cindy, a mutual friend sent their marriage certificate. At that moment, I was furious. But more than that, I was afraid Beatrice would cry. Holly told me Beatrice was going to Rosa City. I immediately flew there. She was so foolish, using alcohol to numb herself after the breakup. I wanted to comfort her, but when the words reached my lips, I swallowed them back. I've never been good at comforting girls, especially not one who had just gone through heartbreak. When I comfort Holly, I just beat people up. Beatrice is the girl I like. There's no way I could hit her. Chapter 3. Beatrice slept with me, and then gave me 200 yuan. What the hell, am I some kind of escort? Am I only worth 200? I was furious, but when I found her, sitting alone outside a breakfast shop, her hair swaying in the wind, she looked like a fragile blade of grass, on the verge of breaking, my heart ached. Such a good girl, why didn't Caleb cherish her? If he wouldn't, then he could get the hell out. September 10th, 2032. I'm really happy. Beatrice and I are finally together, and she even kissed me first.